on digital, and on 88 to 91 FM. BBC Radio 2. Russell Brand.
Listen to Russell Brand on BBC Radio 2. I'm here with Matt Morgan. Hello, Matt Morgan. You all right?
Hello, Russell Brand.
You're in charge of those switches, aren't you? Running the radio show.
Switches.
Yes, it's good, nice that you've got that kind of authority. Trevor Locke is also here. You're in charge of competitions and emails, I understand.
That's my job, yes.
Good. Our resident poet, Mr. G, is also here. He's the poet laureate of this show. Good evening, Mr. G.
Good evening.
What a lovely introduction to all of us. So, what a week it's been for all of us, really. I won a comedy award, didn't I, this week, Matt?
No.
Yeah, come on, you were there. Don't belittle it. Don't pretend to have forgotten. It was a matter of days ago.
What did you win? Best haircut?
Best haircut was just one of them most salacious tabloid stories of the year. I guess what I did win. This is odd, actually. I won. I'm reluctant even to use the word shagger of the year from the Sun newspaper.
Why?
I mean, the Comedy Awards newcomer of the year. That's what I won. Mm-hmm. I'm jolly good at comedy. That's been acknowledged by the British Comedy Awards. But later in the week, I got shagger of the year, and it's sort of a difficult award to receive. It's like I told my mum, like some of the awards I've won. I go, so I've won, Time Out Comedian of the Year, GQ Most Stylish Man of the Year, Loaded Magazine's Funniest Man of the Year, and The Mirror Funniest Man of the Year, and The Sun have awarded me with the Shagger of the Year there. And my mum went, oh, well, that's nice. That's nice that you've won Shagger. Oh, I'm not going to say it. She didn't want to say it.
And what do you get for that?
You get a picture of yourself, with a sun masthead across it. The Sun, Shagger of the Year. I mean, also, it's a word I find, it's a really unattractive bit of language, isn't it?
Shagger of the Year.
Mm-hmm. I don't like that word. I'd prefer
Why did you accept it?
Why did I accept it? I think because it was an award. I think that's why. I don't I guess I would accept pretty much any award offered to me.
Will you use that ever to chat up women?
Do you know I was Shagger of the Year 2006?
Before you say no, I can see you're backing away. I'd just like to show you this framed Sun front page with a mock-up of me.
Also, it's not about quality, is it? It's not like they send someone round to test you.
Right, OK, well, let's see what you can do now.
Blimey, you're brilliant.
Take down your trousers. Well, you seem very confident about something. Let's see you then, young man. No, I don't think so. I think it's about stories that they themselves generate and then judge you on. So it's just like...
No one's voted.
I don't believe... No, you very much vote with your feet or with your pants, I think, Trevor, in an award.
And who won last year? Lee Ryan, probably.
I don't know. You're obsessed with that lad out of blue, aren't you?
No.
You mention him 9 or 10 times a month.
He's always the Shagger of the Year.
I don't know if he is. You're much more comfortable saying the name of it than I am, I notice. Shagger of the Year. You've said it several times. Let's not get bogged down in that. We've got loads of things to do today. Jeremy Nicholas is coming on this show. He's the announcer at West Ham. He's a DJ, but also if you go to Upton Park, you go, welcome to Upton Park. You're here to watch West Ham United versus Manchester United. Right? There's a car parked over there in the wrong place. Right? He makes announcements and stuff like that. Whoops. He's good at it. He whoops up a lot of atmosphere. He's really brilliant, and he's been very supportive of this campaign that I've undertaken,
which you're frankly bored of.
Yes, I began a campaign to get different songs sung on the terraces, we amongst ourselves contrived to have Upton Park sung to the tune of Uptown Girl, and I've sort of become. I don't want to do it anymore.
Idiot.
I know, it's mad because I've sort of
Can't you hand it over to someone else?
What, the campaign, hand over the reins to another younger, more zealous campaigner? I suppose I could do, yeah.
You're Shagger of the Year now, you don't need that sort of thing.
I've got a lot of obligations. It makes all the shagging worthwhile, to tell you the truth. When I see that award, I mean, thank God I put in all that time.
I hate that word.
So it's a ghastly piece of language. OK, we're also going to be talking about masculinity and femininity, times you felt particularly at home in your prescribed gender role, times you felt particularly particularly masculine if you're a fella, or feminine should you be female, or
either
vice
way.
versa. Yeah, you could say, I felt really masculine as a woman when perhaps you belched. I don't know what would go on. I don't know what would evoke these kind of things. So yeah, we'd like to know about your experience with that. You can email us at russell.brand@bbc.co.uk, or you can call 0500 288 291, or you can text us 88291. So yeah, get in touch with us because we're interested in your views. What about that at the Comedy Awards? That ludicrous snake business.
Serpent.
There was a serpent there because of the tenuous link between Matt Willis, ex of Busted, lovely young man, king of the celebrity jungle. They got Matt Willis out with a great big, ridiculously long python, brought out by this fella in a chino suit, who seemed to be torn between being a professional animal handler and sort of taunting the crowd with the snake the way an unbalanced adolescent might use his own genitalia to torment people at a party.
An adolescent called Russell?
I don't know who this adolescent is.
I fear there was no snake.
But like running up to people, using the snake as a sort of a kind of a weapon. It was a ghastly
he
event.
looked like he'd literally just been given a pair of chinos and a sort of Steve Irwin style jacket, and he hadn't actually got any training with that snake.
I saw him relish people being afraid of that snake. I saw him sort of run towards people like, "Oh, here we go!" in a sort of Keystone Cop with a
And there was a bit where they dropped
moment.
it, and it was just like they dropped a roll of carpet. It's
Horrible business, really. You know, sort of it undermined the entire award, really. So we're talking about masculinity and femininity.
Because when they had to put those suits on at the Comedy Awards, that's what made me think of it.
What particularly?
Well, you know, it's weird, isn't it, putting on a suit when you don't normally wear a suit, but then when you do put it on, you feel sort of manly, and then everyone was passing around cigars, weren't they, afterwards?
Yeah,
What cigar, mate? Have a cigar, yeah.
A lot of self-congratulatory cigar passing around went on at that award ceremony. Julian Barrett from Mighty Boosh. There's a bit we walked past Julian Barrett from Mighty Boosh. Like, he sort of went bustling by with Jonathan Ross and Noel Fielding, also from Boosh, and Courtney Love. And they sort of went by and they all had cigars, but for Courtney. And Julian Barrett sort of pointing to his own cigar, self-consciously went, "I've arrived!" Yeah, I'm living the dream.
It's funny because he was aware how silly it was.
There's a lot of silly business. We've got this email here. It says, "Hiya, you all right?" says Charlotte. In the Daily Star yesterday, there was a picture of you with your hair all blown over, but I couldn't help but notice how glossy it looked and was wondering what you use, because I have to try everything, but I can't get my hair to that level of shininess. It just sort of happens.
That was funny when we came out.
By the way, well done on your award. You deserve it. Loads of love, Charlotte. That photograph, Charlotte, to which you refer, was to me encircled, corralled by paparazzi photographers, imprisoned in a sort of ring of flash bulbs, lost in the darkness. It was horrendous. Sort of came out of that Comedy Awards. There's all loads of paparazzi, loads of bulbs sort of just going off, like loads and loads of flashes going off, and I was sort of blinded and lost, and just had to stand still, being photographed in the middle of a street, and like was appealing listlessly for help. Help me!
No, you went. It was funny because we were with Jack, who we worked with, and I was there. He went, Matt and Jack, like that. It was really hard to say that.
For harassment.
It's weird.
Ghastly moment, really. P.S. My mate saw you at a football match but was too shy to speak to you. He said he'd be happy to sing your chant and his friends would join in. That's lovely, but and Jeremy Nicholas is coming in, the announcer from West Ham United, to have a bit of a chat with us. And and I sort of think, oh no, I don't know if I've certainly not got it in me to stand up and start singing that chant anymore. I've in fact bought myself a hat so that I can go to West Ham now with some degree of anonymity, be a man in a hat.
You've got to see it through to the end, though.
To singing Billy Joel songs.
But it's not your job to sing it. You've came up with the idea.
Right, yeah.
Sit back with your hat on your head and let the others sing.
Once that's been sung at Upton Park, then that's finished.
Exactly.
Put that to bed then.
I've also become inspired in the realm of campaigning because I saw this film, John Lennon versus the US, in which it talks about litigation that took place between John Lennon and how they tried to get him, sort of slung out, deported. And it's made me think, it is good to start campaigns. And I thought perhaps getting West Ham fans to sing Uptown Girl was aiming low. Now I've decided to redress it and think, wouldn't it be good if we were to overthrow the government? But maybe let's try that. Start a new system. I don't know.
You've got to get your wings.
Out.
Once you've got that song sung, and
Do you think so?
that'll give you confidence,
If
and you
I
can move on.
tire of trying to get a song sung out to park,
Exactly.
it's going to be difficult.
Yeah.
But then obviously the government will have a file on him. They'll see that he's powerful. They'll think, blimey,
Hello.
over
Well, don't
weeks
go-
of
yeah.
going on about it, he's got some people to sing a song at a
Who
football
knows
stadium.
what he'll do next?
But you wouldn't go straight to the government. You just try and overthrow a local council next,
Right.
and build up little by little.
What's going on with my bins?
Exactly.
Yeah, okay, I'll start off small. So we're talking about masculinity on the show today, or femininity, times you felt particularly at home in your gender roles. The thing is, right, I'm, now that I'm famous, aren't I, now? That's happened.
You are.
Right. So, that sort of, there's typically a women and children first mentality that pervades most cultures, right? That don't apply if you're famous, right? Because, say, if I'm with a makeup woman and a wardrobe woman, who both in both instances, my mates Sharon and Nicola, and there's stuff to be carried, they carry it. I don't like. Whereas typically I'm a man, I'd have to carry stuff. I don't it's like being less than a child, or the way you would treat a woman in in Elizabethan England, a lady, I suppose. After you.
What, so it's feminising fame?
Yeah, it's feminising, I guess, or even it
It's like the
infantilises you.
But like the king would never have had to carry stuff, but it doesn't make him feminine.
Yeah, I suppose not. It somehow meddles with those traditional roles, gender roles, where you'd open a door for someone. I try to do sometimes, occasionally think, oh, blimey, come on, do remember traditional protocols. Don't get so swept up in this that you're happy to be carried around in a sedan chair while your pregnant makeup artist huffs around immediately in front of you. I went and see her today. They've had that baby. Like, my makeup lady's just had a baby. It's a new little person. Head covered in hair and everything. It's
got a real wig on, isn't it?
It's proper got a right little wig. This baby.
Got a barnet.
It's a lovely little thing. It's good, isn't it? It sort of becomes very focal if a baby's come into the world. If a baby's in a room, it becomes the nucleus of that room. All sorts of instincts kick in. I was a bit...
He can't even talk.
It's not doing anything, this baby,
It's a
is it?
she, isn't it?
What's
It's
it contributing? I don't know what it is, Matt, but its material is awful. Essentially, all it did is vomited and blew off a couple of
Diction was
times.
appalling.
Come on, give us something. Bring something up.
Did you feel masculine holding a baby?
Yeah, I did. I worry about it. I'm not it's not an overly familiar
What's that
action.
mime? Looks
That's
like
the mime of holding a baby. That's the mime of cradling a baby in the crook of my arm. I'm quite comfortable with it, but it's sort of it's not a repeated action. If you think if you're a maternity nurse, you're always in that position, or if you're a mother, you're always cradling a baby. For me, I'm not used to doing stuff like that. The familiarity of brawling. You got yourself into a brawl last night, didn't you, Matt?
I
What
got
happened?
punched in the back of the head.
That's a terrible combative method you're using, the back of your skull as a weapon.
No, it was completely random.
What happened?
We came out of we had that party, the agent's Christmas party. Came out. There was two blokes clearly trying to start a fight they were quite hard.
Them people that enjoy fights, were they?
Yeah, and
I worry about those, the people that enjoy fights, people that are going through life looking at there are some people that are pregnant with battle within them, that's just looking for a situation, looking to be pricked with conflict. I worry about them because one day, occasionally, you inadvertently cross their paths and you think, oh no.
Yeah, no, they were a force just moving forward towards a fight with whoever.
Didn't really matter.
They were arguing with a couple of friends of ours. And then, and I was we were walking off, and there was a lot of girls with us, and I sort of went, oh no, hang on, what's going on there? I just sort of clocked the situation. And then one of the girls with us went, oh, hey, stop it! And the bloke
you mean like women do?
I know, they don't understand how not to have a fight.
No,
they go, don't do anything, don't do anything. Then they start it.
I don't like is that this is one thing I've learned. If you're walking down the street with a woman and behind you hear, oi! Do not turn round. Oi is never followed with, I've got a bouquet for you.
Yeah.
Oi, and I present you with Shagger of the Year award. Oi is going to be, the next thing's going to happen is you're going to be beaten up. Keep walking. No good comes from oi.
And so he turned around and he goes, walk on, mate, walk on. I said, I'm not involved in
Good
this.
use of fighting language. Walk on.
Yeah.
Walk on, stroll on, I'll march on you. Some of the best
but
fighting language
and
I've ever heard.
I didn't actually think he was going to hit me, and I just walked away, and then smack right in the back of the head. What a coward. And he was much bigger than me. And it just sort of was a shock. I turned around and went, what? And then they were all running away. But the worst thing is, all the girls go, don't, and hold your arms.
Yeah.
So if he wanted to whip me again, I'd just women hanging off me.
You.
Yeah. But,
well,
I think that's a genetic thing. I think women do that sort of as a deep-seated thing.
What do you mean?
To test the male. She didn't have time to think about that. It's an instinctive thing. Start a fight, and then let's see how you perform. And then it is. It happens.
She didn't mean to start that fight.
She didn't consciously mean it.
So you think that women enjoy watching men fight?
Of course.
On a deep primal level.
On a deep primal level. No woman would admit to it, and no woman would actually have that thought process.
Trevor, that's a disgusting and sexist thing you've just said. Let's see if that's true. If you are a woman and you enjoy seeing men, your life partner beaten up in the street,
they won't know they enjoy
of electricity in your groin.
They won't even know they enjoy it.
Right. Okay. Well, I think that's a shocking accusation you've made there. Give us a call on 0500 288 291, or you can text us on 88291 to tell us about how you stand. Rather than stand by your man while he is also perpendicular, stand by your man while he's laying slouched and beaten and bloody on the floor just to test his credentials from an evolutionary perspective.
I felt emasculated anyway.
You must have felt emasculated by that. It's horrible. Horrible. When was the last time I got into a fight situation?
It's because I was wearing those shoes that you got me, and I'm very grateful for.
Don't blame the shoes.
The high-heeled shoe, you can't. You've got no balance.
They're not like ruby
So that's
slippers.
Emasculating anyway.
They are those.
I would have fought him, but I was wearing high heels.
You're very lucky I'm in these stilettos, sir. Otherwise I'll give you the thrashing of your life.
Ran after him, hit him with my shoe.
It should have been terrifying enough, watching a man like you strutting around there in your slingbacks. All right, let's have. We'll have a listen to. Have you got someone on the phone? There's someone on the phone. What is this human being's name? Adriana from Suffolk. Oh, hello, Adriana. You all right, my dear? Hello. Adriana, what's going on? I just heard her shout, hold on, oh God, I hope she's all right. Adriana, come to the phone. Hello, dear, you okay?
Yes, I just dropped the phone.
Why? Why would a person do a thing like that?
I was getting out of the bath and it was just so inconvenient.
Hello?
Why are you in the bath?
Oh, I was listening to you. I always listen to you in the bath.
Do you? Oh, that's nice to think of that. Don't let the radio fall in. It'll be a terrible way to die.
It'd be awful, wouldn't it?
It would be. It would be a grim and needless death. Do you put, if you're in the bath, do you put things like bubble bath and bath salts in there?
Yes.
Do you? I don't really like it myself. It makes the water feel a little bit slimy. I just like a sparse bath, like I'm sat in a Balkan prison cell, or the room where a knife amnesty is being held, having a sort of a bath all cold, like the Birdman of Alcatraz. Or do you have all sort of perfume and unctions flowing about in there, do you, Adriana?
Of course I do, and I never think of prisons or anything, but now you've said it, I'm going to start being very worried, so...
Yeah, well, just, use those kind of images as part of your ablution routine. Now, when do you feel particularly feminised, Adriana? In what situations in life?
Well, I think it depends on what gentleman I'm with. I mean, certain men just bring out the woman in you, don't they? Or
I suppose so.
That, hopefully, but
Are you a single woman?
I certainly am, yes.
And there you are on a Saturday night bathing, listening to three goons babbling on.
All alone. It's very sad, isn't it?
Not really. It sounds all right to me. So, would you feel? Say you're out and see, Trevor's just made an assertion that women like to see their men tested physically in a fight situation. Would you agree with that? Say that you and I, Adriana, we were out on a date. Perhaps we're in, we're in Leicester High Street in Leicester, and someone threw a chip at me. Would you go, oh, come on, Russell, just leave it, or you go, go on, grab his ghoulies?
I'd go on, go for it, mate, go for it. Oh, yeah, a woman likes to see her man being rough and tough, sure.
Yeah, I suppose so, Adriana, but there's always a little test that runs through the mind of a man. Like sometimes, if there's a potential fight is about to happen, someone might have bumped into you or said something, you sort of always look at them and think, right, could I realistically have this person? And when the answer to that question is yes, you think, brilliant! An opportunity for some Clint Eastwood style showing off. Oh dear, mate, you've put yourself in a terrible situation. But, like most of the time, in my case, about 90% of the time, I sort of think, oh no, he'd probably kill me.
The truth is, if you believe you can do it, then you will do it. But the reason I ran
you say that, Adriana, but
that's easy for you to say.
Often belief is an insufficient weapon, particularly against a broken bottle, against a Midlands thug.
No, it's we're power in numbers, and the reason I was ringing you is because I suggested that you should stand for Parliament, because you probably know that it's really difficult to get young people to vote these days. So there's all that untapped young people that needs a role model, and I feel it could be you. We could be the real Green Party, but with a little smidgen of sex sprinkled on top, and we could take over the government like you want to.
Adriana, it's very lovely that you've waited 90 seconds into this conversation to reveal that you're mad.
I couldn't get a word in, Russell.
So it would have come sooner. Yeah, I mean, okay, I think that could be a good role model, but in a way I disagree with the entire political system and think we have to dismantle the machinery of democracy because it is part of an illusion that keeps us docile. So, I mean, by standing for Parliament, I'd be encouraging it, wouldn't I?
No, because you can only do it from the inside out. There's
Do
no
it from
point.
the inside out. I didn't win Shagger of the Year by not knowing things like that, dear. Let me tell you, Adriana. Okay, so right, you think use some sort of. I wonder how that would make me feel to become a political force. Will young people ever vote? Will young people ever overcome their apathy? Are they just waiting for someone? Trevor Locke looks excited.
Of course,
about
they'd
something.
vote for you.
They
Do you
need
think
a
so?
role model.
I think you'll be Prime Minister if you want it.
Well, I do actually want enormous power. Perhaps look at Matt shaking his head. Why are you so cynical about my new life in politics,
Prime
which has just
Minister?
If he
begun?
wants it, Matt, there's nothing to stop this fella.
Yes! What about that? Come on, Matt, it'd be brilliant. I'll give you a job. You can be in charge of culture or
No, thank
economics
you.
or something.
No,
Come
thank you. I'll
on.
just sit quietly in my shed. Wait for Armageddon.
Young people need a role model, and all they've got to vote for at the moment is middle-aged men. You know, it's just no good. But you know, you're just completely different, and a lot of people look up to you. And yet, you should get in there, start a party.
Okay.
Yeah, but what will your policies be, Russell?
Hold on a minute. I've only just got this political ambition started 5 seconds ago. Right. What I believes in is the old love and peace and lots of cuddling, the abolition of nationhood and currency, and probably get rid of religion unless people can do it quietly without hitting each other. That's just the start.
Well, there you go. That's your manifesto.
Also, we've got to reduce the population. Now, that's going to be ugly for the first 50 years. No, we'll do it just by, you're only allowed one child per couple.
Oh dear.
And
You'll
then
get to do that one.
the idea of family has to go out the window. We're all one family now. It's, you know, hey, I'm just
That's
riffing.
stupid.
I'm just riffing.
Yeah, that's good, that's good.
What about there's African tribes where mum means all the female members of the tribe and dad means all the male members of the tribe? They don't actually know who their
Nice.
birth mum and father are. So it means the idea of family, nice, means it's more inclusive. So, all right, Adriana, you've started off something that you're going to regret when a grim dictatorship of show-offs begins. Adriana,
Yes.
it's lovely talking to you, my darling.
And to you, my love.
You take care, and we'll speak to you soon. Stay with the show. We'll dedicate a song to you later because you've started a very dangerous political machine in motion. You take care.
You too. Bye.
So we've got another call here. It's young Ben. He's calling us from Bristol. Are you all right, Ben?
Hello, Russ.
Are you all right, mate?
I'm alright, how are you?
Yes, I'm in a good mood now. You've certainly made me feel better. Did you hear the last call from Adriana there?
I heard the start of it and just a little bit at the end, something about politics.
What did you do in the middle?
I was talking to Mike.
What were you doing?
Talking to Mike, one of the people at radio.
Oh, right, there's someone that
right.
primes you, and I hope he probably told you, don't mention the preparatory call that you just went for. That's probably, Mike, one of the main things Mike would have said is, don't come on there and go, right, you've been groomed. Okay, Ben, so what are you going to talk to us about your times you felt particularly masculine in your life?
At university, I got living with all lots of different people.
What are they like, these people?
Oh, not too bad.
Men, women?
Both.
I see.
And
Saucy.
what happens is a lot of girls come in my room screaming that there's bugs in their rooms.
What do you mean? What? Are you a spy? What are they, little cameras?
Well, yeah.
Insects, you mean, of course. Okay.
Yeah, they asked me to go and get them out, and it's usually a bee or a moth.
Usually a bee or a moth. Sometimes the bee and moth team up. They're incredible together.
Tag team.
Okay.
So then I go in there and realise I'm afraid of a bee or a moth as well. And
You're afraid of a bee or a moth also?
only bees.
Why are you afraid of the bees? Bees are,
can
as we
sting
know...
you.
Yes, they can, but the bee's good. It will only sting you if you're threatening it by trying to get it out of a girl's room or something. Wasps, of course, as we all know, evil, Nazi little insects.
Nazi helicopters.
Oh, well, the ghastly characters. Yeah, they'll sting anyone. Okay, so you feel masculine in that situation, of course.
Unless it was
Only when
feminine.
they ask me to.
Sorry?
Only when they ask me to, not when I'm actually doing it.
Oh, right. In the moment that you're given that responsibility, you feel quite
I go
masculine.
around flapping my hands around.
Listen,
trying to
Ben,
get
you've
out.
got to, in my view, Ben, you've got to conduct this in a more masculine way. You've
Plan
got
it out a
to,
bit better.
yeah, you've got to approach this endeavour in a rather more butch fashion. Perhaps you should like I don't know, put something around your head, get some sort of John Rambo-esque apparel to carry this out. Mind you, like Steve Irwin used to get his masculine kicks in a similar fashion.
Yeah.
And it led to all sorts of rhubarb, as far as I can gather. So do be careful.
Yeah.
Watch those moths.
And watch those moths; they can turn on you.
Ooh. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, and also, Ben, while we're on the topic of, like, Adriana suggested that we should start a revolution by forming a political party aimed chiefly at the young and try and overthrow the political establishment. Now, Ben, you are a young man who, at the moment, can't even overcome the tiniest of insects, so I don't know why I'm trying to recruit you, but would you be interested in our revolution?
Yes.
Right, good. Are you, if necessary, prepared to kill?
As far as my bug attacking personnel will allow me.
Okay, Ben, we're going to need you to... what university are you at? Winchester University?
Yeah.
Right, I believe the bloke who's in charge is called the Dean, isn't he?
The what?
Is it the Dean or the Principal at universities?
Yeah, I think so, probably.
You must kill him, Ben! You're going to have to take him down and start a little 50-man Soviet there in Winchester. Perhaps your motif can be a single bee pressed against your chest. That bee that denotes your bravery.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for your call, young man.
Thank you, Russell.
It's lovely talking to you. Stay listening with us. We'll be thinking about you and talking about you over the next hour or so. Ta-ta, old bean.
That's one of the classics, isn't it? The insect kill.
The insect kill is I don't ever kill the insect myself.
Do you do the glass and the piece of paper
I take
thing?
him in my hands and then I release him like a sort of Dr. Dolittle or something.
What, even if it's a wasp?
Oh, wasp, I would usher out. I'd usher it out with like, now come along, you've had enough, young man. Perhaps give it a half Nelson with its tiny wing.
Opening jars is another one like that.
What, you feel butch when you open a jar?
When someone goes, can you open that for me? And you open it.
I asked the girl to open a jar for me the other day, and I knew what I was doing it.
That's tragic.
I know. I just I couldn't be bothered.
You should lose that Shag of the Year title. That should be taken back. It should be an inquiry.
There's something afoot. Let's listen to something, and then we'll come back. And what we jolly well do, we'll get to the bottom of this masculinity thing. Trevor, you've not given any examples of how you feel. I think you're a third gender, Trevor. I think you're neither masculine nor feminine. Christ alone knows what it is. What if you were asked to reproduce? I think an egg would probably emerge from your forehead. So
Morrissey's very masculine for someone who's always, you know, made out to be some sort of Camp Nancy boy. He's very sort of, he's big bovine bloke.
Yeah, barrel-chested, kind of heroic, square-jawed sort of fella, isn't he, Morrissey? Yeah, he is. Now, look, the reason we got into this chat about masculinity and stuff is because we both went and saw James Bond. Matthew and I saw Casino Royale. Or is it Casino Royale? What's the difference?
It's French.
Well, one's a hamburger and one's, you know.
Oh, Trevor, get hold of yourself, woman. So, okay. So, what did you think about it, Matthew? What's your feeling about Jimmy Bond?
It's a bit long and it's a bit stupid.
That last 15 minutes was ridiculous.
And I got the giggles when she said, "Oh, James, even if you were just your smile and your little finger, you'd be more of a man than anyone else," or something.
Be a ridiculous man.
It'd be stupid. It'd be a funny film, though.
Yeah, there was that slug man for a while.
He was finger.
It'd be a finger bob.
I don't see that going anywhere. He's an interesting male archetype, isn't he, James Bond? If you think of the different permutations he's been through. First of all, Sean Connery he was a quietly menacing brute, wasn't he?
Yeah.
George Lazenby never really registered. Moore.
Roger Moore's the best for me.
Well, he was the one from when we were growing up, wasn't he? But I think, really, James Bond's meant to be a ruthless, cold killer, and Daniel Craig has captured that, and he's like a vicious,
but he's not.
Man.
He's a bit sort of. I mean, the Roger Moore thing was like, oh dear, don't want to get involved.
Blimey. I'm ever so sorry. I simply killed you in the bottom.
But Daniel Craig's a bit of a. I don't know. He just seems a bit of a yobbo.
Yeah, but I'd like him. I thought he did quite a good job of it.
Yeah, I thought it was good. He had sort of cold, dead eyes.
I didn't like the bit where him and the accountant woman that was sent by the Treasury did some sort of flirty mind game bit where, where James Bond always has to flirt with someone, flirt with the Treasury, and they're sat on a train together, and he's going, "Well, I'd imagine that you grew up like this, dear, and that happened to you, and I bet you fell off your bike when you was a kid.
Bet you failed your psychic proficiency.
Bet you did. I bet you was embarrassed when you got back home, wouldn't you? I bet you had a wigwam in your garden, and you was sitting in it. It was a feudal system." I thought that was a daft way to flirt with each other. The whole business, but it's undermined my masculinity terribly, the whole affair.
Yeah, it was this odd film, really.
We've got Nikki on the phone from Bournemouth, who cold-heartedly admits that she likes to see a man beaten in the street. You all right, Nikki?
I'm fine, thank you.
So, Nikki, you are an animal health officer. What does that mean?
Oh, God, that means I
don't know
go
why you have to
round
involve
and
him.
speak to farmers, check their records are done properly, check the animals are identified, that sort of thing.
Right, okay. So, how can we be sure this is Daisy the cow? What would you have to do? Just make sure they've got the right number of animals and stuff?
Oh, God, this is dull. Basically, if you ever see
Can you
cows
not
in
attack
a
the
field,
radio
you know,
show
they've got
while
tags
you're on
in their
it?
ears, and it's an individual number that follows them through life from farm to death at the abattoir, basically.
Oh,
So that
God.
because when they move through markets and everything, so there's complete traceability of food through the food chain.
So you go, all right, so we don't have any more ghastly plagues.
Hopefully.
That'd be nice not to have any more of them. Okay, so like by day you're a caring and professional woman.
To the animals, yeah.
To the animals, but when you're out on a date, you expect to see vicious displays of masculinity on the streets of Bournemouth.
I was just listening, and the chap that's with you said women secretly like it.
Young
and
Trev, yeah.
admittedly, if it's in your honour, because if you're in a club or something... and
in your honour? In a club? I dropped a lacy glove and thankfully Gary elbowed him in the kidney.
No, but you do expect, if someone, say you're a girl in the club and you're with a fella, and some other bloke knocks you or something, and you go up to your fella and go, that bloke just did such and such to me. You do
I hate women doing that.
They all do it.
Nikki,
stop it. Leave us alone.
Going back to your boyfriend and going, that
I don't
man
have one
knocked
at the
me.
moment.
Well, I'll tell you why. They're probably all laying in casualty awards around Dorset, wheezing.
I'm not saying this happens frequently.
But when it does happen, you get off on it.
No, but to a certain point, you do expect a bloke to stick up for you in a club, don't you? Because it's a bit cowardly if they don't.
Oh, Christ.
I'm not saying they should all walk round beating each other up.
I
But
suppose it is a chief tenet of masculinity, the ability to defend one's territory and defend one's tribe and to defend one's woman.
It can be done in a certain way that isn't completely thuggish.
Yeah, but Nikki, the example you gave was you're in a club and someone's knocked you and your poor bloke,
No,
he's
I'm
over
not
at the
just
bar.
saying knocks you, but if someone has been quite offensive to you and it's upset you...
Give us an example. Has this ever happened in your life?
Well, you know, sometimes if you're a girl in a club and you're in a...
I don't know, Nikki. I don't go out in a frock.
Sometimes I am
sure?
a girl in a club, actually.
Hoping to be
I bet you
swept
have.
off my feet. Go on.
No, but if some blokes sort of grab you or some, you know, at the end of the night they're getting really arsey. And I have had it before and it is quite unfortunate, someone's grabbed your crotch or something, you're like, will you get off? And they won't stop hounding you.
Yeah.
And you're with someone, you go, that bloke was really getting on my nerves and he won't stop hounding me.
And what do you want to happen in that situation? Once you've made that
I would
complaint?
like him to go over and say, you know, not necessarily go over and lump him one, but to go over and say, that's my girlfriend, can you just leave it out, mate?
You do want him to lump him one, don't you? I could tell from the tone of your voice.
But I'm just saying to stand up to him for you.
Right. So you do feel, it makes you feel particularly feminine when you're around displays.
Yeah, it's like a knight in shining armour, isn't it?
Well, not really. It's like a knight in a shining shell suit with cider spilling down his
I
chin.
don't go to those kind of clubs, thank you very much.
No, Gordon. It's not a judgment on you, Nikki. Okay. Yeah, okay,
No,
fair
just
enough.
a man sticking up for a woman's honour, I'm saying. It doesn't mean they've got to go over and lump someone, but it is nice to be with a man who's a man that will stick up for you in times of trouble.
Yeah, well, Matt very recently was nearly... What happened to you when didn't you brush past the woman in the club? She went to her boyfriend. That fella touched me. He touched me on the boob.
No, she tried to chat me up, and I wasn't interested.
She tried to chat you up.
I wouldn't do that. I'm not
And then
talking about that.
then she tried to turn things around and get her boyfriend to beat me up. I talked it round.
Sounds like a lovely evening.
Sounds like a nice club.
Nikki, thank you very much for your time, my dear.
Thank you.
You've given us a lot to think about, and I, for one, now feel that if I don't have at least 3 or 4 fights a week, I'm something less than a man.
I was just on about men being men and sticking
I
up
might as
for
well
their
be
ladies
Larry
on there.
Grayson now. I'm probably going to march straight out of this studio and just kick someone in their groin. Thank you very much, my love. We shall bear in mind your words. I'm only joking. Thank you. Your opinions did reach us. Take care, Nikki. Oh, Christ, she's gone. She's probably... Nikki, why did she not respond to that? Just heard you laugh.
Sorry.
Right, bye, Nikki. That's weird. She probably... What happened was I wasn't masculine enough towards the end of the conversation. She thought I weren't worth bothering with anymore.
Yeah, she probably thinks
She's still
there.
God, there went old Nikki. She was a lovely girl. Listen to Russell Brand on Radio 2. So engrossed are we in our chat about gender roles that we very nearly forgot that we were on radio. Hey, listen to this from Sarah. She says, I was shocked and disappointed by Trevor Locke's archaic views on the subject of masculinity and femininity. Did you know there's a branch of sociology that says these roles are actually just social constructions invented to keep people under control and docile, as Russell says? Obviously, there are the biological categories, but they don't necessarily correspond to certain ways of behaving. Oh, they do, don't they? I think, if your biological role means you're going to have to carry a child, certain behaviours are going to have to support that.
Yeah.
So, okay. The ideas of masculinity and femininity have been passed down through many generations and are continually reaffirmed and enforced through culture and the media to the extent that we believe they are innate, when in fact they are not. According to this view, gender is performative. It's something we do, not an expression of what we are.
It's a certain
interesting,
it's a degree
Sarah.
of truth in that.
You're a lovely little salt, Sarah, and that's a cracking view, darling. You're a nice one, sweetheart. She's a smashing looking bird and all. No, I mean, I think that some of that's true, but like if there's a certain biological imperatives that are defining, then there would have to be behavioural imperatives to match those, right? So being a man, of course, I'm never going to get heavily pregnant, so I don't have to worry about being particularly nurturing. I can be a right cad if I'd like. But Sarah, you do raise an awful lot of points. I'd just like to say that Trevor Locke isn't traditionally a sexist man.
I agree with some of her points. Like G was saying earlier, that when he DJs and there's a turnaround record where the girls are supposed to ask the boys, the girls never do it. But when I was in Peru, the girls came up to ask me to dance, and two girls actually had a physical fight, because they couldn't agree who'd asked me to dance first. So that's an example of what she's talking about how the gender roles are different in different cultures.
These roles are not absolute in different cultures.
Exactly, yeah.
The roles vary. Though what astonishes me most, Trevor, is the idea of two women on this planet being interested in dancing
what are the
anywhere
chances?
near you.
I know.
Extraordinary. I can only assume it was a dance taking place in a lunatic asylum. Here's a message from Charlie, who says he takes a night class in arc welding, because the spelling of the name Charlie here is EY. I don't know whether Charlie is a man or a woman, but I think Charlie's on the line. Hello, Charlie.
Hello.
You are a man.
Indeed I am, yes.
And what a man, Charlie.
Yeah.
Charlie. What are you learning about arc welding for?
It's primeval. It's the melding of elemental elements.
So, am I to assume then, Charlie, you're undertaking this welding course as some sort of intellectual exercise?
No, quite the opposite.
Why? It's practical. You want to be a welder.
Yeah, the ladies love it.
Well, so you're doing it to impress birds.
Yeah, I carry my boiler suit around in the back of the car. A nice pair of gauntlet weld gloves.
Is it
gauntlets? That's what we should be wearing.
Gauntlets. You'd like to go around wearing gauntlets, would you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you really have to wear those masks and everything, or do you think you could get away with welding a bit more freestyle if you really wanted to?
Yeah, you could. You'd end up with a wicked suntan, but...
Really?
Yeah.
Tell me this, Charlie. Since you've undertaken this masculine pursuit, have women found you more attractive?
No.
Really? It's been completely ineffectual. I suppose you don't really meet many women on a welding course, do you?
None. No, there's a lot of men.
Right.
All trying to pull women.
Did the film Flashdance inspire you to go on this course?
Yeah.
In a way. Right, okay.
It's great imagery, isn't it? Kind of like molten steel just sparking all over the workshop.
You are the most effeminate welder I've ever spoken to. My molten steel. There's me in my boiler suit, and we're dance. Charlie, you've given us a lot to think about, but guess what, right? Like, this is at best a parochial chat that we're all having, and we've got to go to the news. So I've got to say goodbye to you, Charlie. Thank you very much for your call, mate, and I think you're ever so butch, and if I was a lady welder, I'd be all over you. Take care, old mate. We're talking about masculinity, femininity, gender roles. Before that, we had the news. Later on in this show, we're going to be talking to Jeremy Nicholas. Because earlier on this run of Radio 2 shows, I made the decision to start a new campaign of football chants, and which I've now decided to reignite, because I've bought a hat specifically so that I can be more anonymous at West Ham, thinking at some point I'm going to be pressured into singing Uptown Girl, possibly alone. No, it's probably wise for me to purchase a hat. but like Jeremy Nicholas is here now. Perhaps he can re-inspire me, make me feel a little bit confident in that entire notion. And in fact, that whole idea of football, sort of Terry's culture, in fact, has become an emblem of masculinity. Not only to me, I think culturally that's what it represents, but to me, that's what I think. I think that I wanted to infiltrate that world and get football fans singing the song Uptown Girl, which, let's be honest, is a little bit of a camp song to get them to sing, in a way to make myself feel more accepted. On the terraces. I thought
to undermine them, basically.
If I thought, well, kind of, yeah, sort of undermine that, to sort of, if the, mountains and Mohammed, that kind of mentality. Perhaps I'll feel more if I don't feel accepted as part of a masculine culture, but if I can make masculine culture just a little bit more camp, just a little more saucy, perhaps I'll feel more at home. So Jeremy's going to be here in a minute, and he's already, bless his heart for this, played Uptown Girl at half-time during West Ham's game v Sheffield United. So perhaps he'll make further contributions. Perhaps he'll play Somewhere Over the Rainbow or something at tomorrow's game against Man United. Interesting week for me in that I got to meet Terry Wogan.
Did you?
Interesting to meet an icon such as Terry. Great big edifice of a man. Big. Larger than you'd expect him to be. Yeah, and it's astonishing to hear that voice that you're so accustomed to hearing across the airwaves or coming out of your TV set, to hear that in a conversation. Oh my God, that's Terry Wogan, to him talk, because you only normally hear him giving radio content, to hear him talking about things that's ordinary. It's intriguing. Even better to hear the man say the F word. I met him briefly at a Radio 2 function for the press. It was a very modest affair. And Terry Wogan, Leslie Douglas, the controller of Radio 2, goes, "Oh, come on, Russell, meet Terry." And he was sort of talking to someone else. I goes, "No, let's wait a while. I don't want to be taken over there to meet Terry Wogan and it to be sort of a bit half-hearted because Terry's too busy talking to someone else. I'll wait till there's a moment, till he's bored stiff, till I'm the alternative between is either going to be talk to me or stare into space. Then I'll strike." Went over. He was very sweet. I thought, how I shall treat this conversation is an opportunity to get advice. So I just went, "Oh, what should I do, Terry? How should I go about being a broadcaster?" He said, you don't have to." I goes, "Chris Evans and Jonathan Ross and Steve Wright have all told me, be yourself." He goes, "Don't be yourself, but be true to yourself."
Very good advice.
Enigmatic. You don't have to be yourself.
Did he look you up and down and go, "Don't be yourself"?
don't be on radio.
Don't. Just
go
home and don't.
Yeah, it was good words of wisdom from Terry Wogan.
He's a hero of mine.
Is he?
Oh, yeah. He's a master broadcaster, both on television and on radio. Very, very droll, very funny, very clever, quick.
Yeah, I always liked the vibe he brought to Eurovision. It's good, isn't it? He reached out and touched us. He realised that it were all rhubarb. So, masculinity, femininity, when we felt I've been quite a lot of fight situations because I'm an unusual character. I get into more fights, not actually lately, thank heavens, but when I was younger, more fights than you might expect for someone who I don't build my identity around I'm good at fighting, but I still get into a lot of fights, or used to get into quite a lot, and they never turned out particularly well. I won a few fights, and from the women we've spoken to on this show, that's something they appreciate. And I've always felt a flush of incredible pride in fight-winning situations.
Well, we said, I won a few fights.
I won a few. Yeah. In my fight record, there's a few TKOs, many KOs, couple of draws, few points decisions, and a hell of a lot of grim defeats out there. I had a fight in a pub once with this bloke. And it was it was the same pub that I was eventually banned from because I was drinking tequila in the pub. It wasn't that I'd not bought in that pub. I was drinking tequila from the bottle, which is quite butch, I suppose, in its way. It's quite a masculine thing to do. And the barman goes, "You're gonna have to stop drinking that tequila, or leave this pub, or I'm gonna call the police." And I said, "Go for your guns." Go for your guns, I said. Really ridiculous.
Why did you say that?
Where did you pick that up from?
Films, I think.
That's not even clear what you mean.
Well,
sort of things,
I meant call the police then. I don't know if that came across in Go for Your Guns.
Sort of weedy little Chris Tarrant.
Those are your options.
Yeah, or B. So, so I can see the appeal.
There's an
accessible
article
masculinity
about the rise of the beard.
Oh, yeah.
The beard coming back, and there was a picture of you in there with loads of different... Like, Daniel Craig, actually, he's got a beard in the next film he's in, saying that, having a beard is now de rigueur and cool. But that's a masculine thing, isn't it? Having a beard.
I suppose so, but it does rather feel like we're scrambling around for masculine traits. It's like you've not stopped
got a beard,
hair
haven't you?
growing out of your face.
You're too lazy to shave. That's always good.
Well done. How ragged of you. We're talking about masculinity on Radio 2 here. Not masculinity on Radio 2. Incredibly masculine radio station. Terry Wogan, have you seen what he's got going on under that shirt? Masculine brute. Hey, Russell, says Sue. Just wanted to say, and this is a very succinct approval of the idea of primal masculinity. Just wanted to say I have in the past been more impressed by a man who defended my honour as opposed to ones who didn't. Lots of love, Sue.
There we are.
There we are, Sue.
Very
There.
simple. Well done, Sue.
Thank you very much. And then Helen says, I agree with Trevor that on a base primal level, women have to find the man who would best defend the babies and bring the most food back to the cave. Yeah, where's the food? If you've not brought it back to the cave, I'm ever so sorry I got caught up. There was a mammoth. I thought it was a lovely creature for a while. I serenaded it and dropped all the shopping. But it's evolved into fronting up each other in the street to prove their masculinity. Have any of you three ever got into a fight with each other, or nearly? No, not really. I don't think so.
We had a camp fight once.
Oh, yes, right. Actually, we were in a cab and Matt pulled my hair.
Oh, that was...
No, I was sitting behind him. I pulled his hair and sort of just because I was, when you're in a people carrier. It was a stupid thing. I just sort of went like that, but we went over a bump.
What would being in a people carrier mean?
Because I was sat behind you, and I just sort of went doop doop on your hair, but we went over a bump, and so it pulled it too hard, and he turned and spat at me. Went, what? Wait, I wasn't.
Ridiculous.
That was pretty.
Yeah, that's tragic. We get on quite well most of the time. This is from Kimberly. I totally disagree. There is nothing more embarrassing than a guy trying to be overly masculine by causing a scene in the bar. Women don't need protecting. A man should just express his love in a way that doesn't have jealousy written all over it. Yes. Okay, fair enough, Kimberly. Thank you very much. That's very, very sensible. And then she says nice things about reading in a magazine that I said for the entire month of March. I'm going to just wear roller skates and a T-shirt with no trousers and skate around. Sometimes I give...
next March?
Yeah,
they say predictions.
Yeah, they go, what's it going to be like for you next year? I go, well, throughout March, I'll be rolling. I just say things and then I have to read it written down.
You should go by that.
I think you should, Matt.
Okay, just roller skate around.
About the 3rd of March, it'll become tiresome. But you'll have to do it.
I regret ever having made this pledge now, in retrospect. Right then, so ultimately, what have we learned about masculinity? I'm quite glad that I'm an androgynous sort of a fella, really. That's what I've come to as a conclusion.
I've learned this about femininity.
Go on.
There's a perfume out called Insolence.
Yeah.
That's stupid, isn't it? They've run out of feminine words. Insolence. Perfume. Insolence. Like,
cheekiness.
Answering back to a teacher. There's a perfume of it now.
Is it for a man or a woman?
For a woman.
How's it being advertised?
Insolence.
That's ridiculous.
I know.
Insolence.
I keep seeing it everywhere.
I feel really insolent. I'm vaguely disrespectful as a perfume. I don't know what that smell would be. Other perfumes are available, obviously, probably ones that are more appropriately named. Yeah, that's a ridiculous name for a perfume.
It's really weird, isn't it?
It's a nonchalance, indifference, ennui. Yeah, that's just because they probably like the sound.
But insolence is just a word from school. Don't be so insolent.
Yeah, obviously the word has broader connotations, but none of them particularly applicable to a scent. I mean, the smell of insolence probably would be a wee that you've done over the teacher's desk. And I can't imagine that selling particularly well.
Yeah, I suppose it has a certain music to the word.
Yeah, it's a nice word.
Insolence.
But, I don't know, sort of you could get into the onomatopoeia of blow-off or rat-a-tat-tat. Neither of them would be particularly good perfume names.
That's what I want for Christmas.
Insolence is sexy, though, isn't it? It is. It's a little bit. If someone's a little bit insolent, it's a little bit. It's nice, isn't it?
Not with a perfume, Trevor. Yeah, the whiff of insolence drifting. If I saw, I can smell the insolence in the air.
But eternity doesn't smell of anything, does it?
Yeah, but that's a nice word.
And it's abstract as well. Eternity. It evokes the idea of our endlessness, the infinite, limitless possibilities, the eternal nature of love. When we die, our love will live on. At least the concept of love will live on.
That's nice.
Whereas insolence, cheeky.
Well, there we
Might as well have a perfume called cheeky. You pinched my bum as a perfume. That's ridiculous. Who's it being aimed at?
I think it's aimed at teenagers.
Fair enough. It might have been all right for him. I know it's
What,
Callum
is
Best.
insolence?
Yeah.
No, it's not.
It's all
like
black and white and Italian and sexy.
Yeah.
Callum Best's got a perfume out, and it's called simply Callum Best.
It's called Callum.
It doesn't smell of him, though, does it?
It smells bizarre. We smelt it. It smells of about a minute, because he goes, oh, they let me design the box and everything, and they let me, and you think, no, they didn't, and then you see it and you think,
yeah, they might
oh
have.
God, they did. And then you smell it, and then you realise it's about 4 different aftershaves all mixed into one, painted purple. It stinks.
Like if you draw a picture and the picture's quite good, you keep going back to it and go, I'll give it glasses, I'll give it a new haircut. Oh, I'll just put a raspberry in here. Oh, that would be nice. I'll just stir in a bit of brute. Yeah, it's gone.
Imagine that happened for about
wrong.
a year, and that's what you've ended up with.
But no, I mean, Callum Best's perfume, I'm sure is jolly nice. I don't want to criticise it. He's a nice enough lad, isn't he? No, I didn't like the smell of it. I wouldn't want to go around wearing it. All right, then, let's listen to some music. What are you going to listen to, Matt?
The Fall, Folding Money.
Fold it. Why are you
It's called
about that?
because it's hard to say, because it's F-olding money.
F-olding money.
Don't know what Marky Smith's going on about.
That's the way he sings it. Folding money.
Folding money.
Well, and it's spelt like that as well.
Yeah. Can't you see it on the little screen?
Oh, there is no little screen.
You've got
for
no
me to
little
look at.
screen.
Little screen.
You poor man.
That's why the radio show has these junctions where I have to go, what are we listening to, Matt? Actually, no, I don't know why I've never gone to turn that screen round. It would make life a lot easier. We've got young Scarlett on the line. Hello there, dear. You all right?
Yeah, thanks.
Well, you sound quite official. I don't like to leap to conclusion. I've only heard 2 syllables uttered by you, but you sound already an efficient young lady. How old are you?
I'm 15.
Right, you're 15 now. What are you ringing us to discuss, my dear?
Well, I texted in about the whole masculinity, femininity thing.
Oh, that thing. Oh, it's been dividing us for
thing.
too long. Why don't we all just dress up all daft and forget about our differences, men, women? I don't know, it seems silly. OK, so you're a young woman. You're on the precipice of adulthood. How do you feel about the role prescribed to you by society as a young woman? You happy as a young woman? Is there anything you'd like to change?
I'm happy.
Oh, yeah. And what about young men, the way they treat you? Are you happy with that?
Yeah, no. On the whole.
Would you like things to be different? Would you like men to go around, for example, say if you're outside a minicab office and there were some skinheads, one of the skinheads spits near you, how do you want your male consort to respond to this?
Well, you like to feel like you're being protected. You like them to defend you. Because it kind of makes you feel good, like they think you're special, you know.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. It does make sense, Scarlett. But that does place an obligation on the male in your company.
Yeah.
Like, he might feel frightened and he might want to just scurry beneath your petticoats or leap into your handbag.
Yeah. But if... Like,
say you was out of a man, right, and like a girl got chewing gum and put that chewing gum in that man's hair, would you perhaps consider giving a Chinese burn to the the girl that administered the chewing gum?
Of course.
You would?
Yeah.
Are you not afraid of physical conflict?
Well, if they'd done something to, like, your boyfriend, friend, or whatever, of course, you'd want to defend them back.
Can you see how the extrapolation of this argument leads to conflict all over the world, Scarlett? How the situation in the Middle East has grown.
But you have the right to defend yourself.
Oh no, I suppose you do. But it's just what I worry about is you coercing some teddy boy boyfriend into a needless brawl. That's what I'd worry about.
No, you wouldn't want that.
No, that's the last thing any of us need. Right, so earlier in the show there were mention of us starting a political party based on very loose and ill-considered ideologies. How do you feel about getting behind a whooped-up and ill-conceived mantra?
Well, it's always good fun. Why not?
Right, OK, Scarlett, we've already enlisted 3 or 4 people over the course of this show. Most of them, I think like you, with your knee-jerk attitude towards violence, could be a useful member of the cause.
Yeah, why not?
Scarlett, it's lovely talking to you, sweetheart. You go to an all-girls school in Wimbledon, do you?
Yeah, I do.
Is that all right? What's that like?
It's all right, but girls are horrible.
Are they?
It's true.
How do you mean? What do you mean? Lots of backbiting?
Yeah, I mean, you hear about the arguments between boys, but the ones between girls they're not physical so much, but they're so much worse.
A lot of psychological cruelty.
Yeah, rumours and things. They They have a lot more power than most people think.
Lots of rumours and skullduggery, right? If you are, what's it, Wimbledon High School for Girls that you go to?
Yeah.
Right, if there are any other people that attend, well, I suppose girls that attend it, I was rather loose there. If there are any other people, if you are a 50-year-old man and you're attending Wimbledon High School for Girls, check yourself before you wreck yourself. If you're a girl at Wimbledon High School, come on, stop the rumours. They're damaging.
They'll never stop.
The rumours have got to stop, Scarlett. It's lovely talking to you, sweetheart. You take care.
Yeah, you too.
Okay, so it's been a lesson for us all in the nature of gender. And this evening, Trevor, you look puzzled.
Well, I think the thing is that if you're a man, you've got to bring something different to the partnership, and if you're a woman, vice versa. It doesn't always have to be protection, but that's usually what it is. But if you can bring something else, that's fine. As long as you can bring something.
So modern dance.
If she can't dance modernly, you've got to do it.
We should live in a society by now where you don't have to protect each other.
Exactly. That's a shame, isn't it, that we've not evolved to it, to the point where protection is so high on our agenda. That is a bit of a worry. Listen to Russell Brand on Radio 2. I'm here with Jeremy Nicholas, who, to me, you are known as the announcer at West Ham United, but you do radio and stuff like that,
do a bit of radio, a bit of television as well, yeah.
Been doing it for ages and ages, haven't you? You've worked with amazing people in radio and stuff, haven't
Amazing people, have I?
Chris Morris! I can see Chris Morris and Chris Evans on the list.
Oh, right, yeah. No, Chris Morris, Chris Evans, yeah. Stuart Hall.
Amazing
some
people.
Legends, yeah.
Let's talk about those people a little later, but so, firstly, the reason that you're here, Jeremy, is because I started that campaign to enliven the terraces with new adaptations of modern songs, and we pushed way too hard to get Uptown Girl sung at Upton Park, and you played it, didn't you, against Sheffield United? Someone told me one of my mates was there and said that Uptown Girl was playing.
Well, I met you in the toilets, didn't I?
That was a lovely meeting.
Yeah.
All my best relationships begin in lavatories.
I wasn't quite sure why you were in those toilets, because they're like the official toilets for like members of staff and things. Why were you allowed in there?
Well, I've got a lot of clout at Upton Park.
Why don't you use the normal toilets?
What normal ones? The ones that's for terrifying men. You're not on your Nelly.
The ones for the fans, like you claim to be.
Oh, Jeremy!
Why are you in the toilets?
I'll tell you why. Because when I get I made that mistake recently. Like sort of, I was always able to go to West Ham like untroubled and unruffled, right?
Yeah. And then all of a sudden you get troubled now.
All of a sudden I became notorious, right? And so it's different. Like that's one thing that someone said at Upton Park. Like, you never used to come here because I did. You didn't recognise me. I wasn't famous. You were like.
I think West Ham fans should say to you when they see you, why don't you use the normal toilets? Is it because of camera phones and you're worried that people will snap you?
I'll tell you. Well, right. This is what happened. The last time I used the normal toilets at West Ham, well, I was on the route to those toilets. I had to, loads of getting photos done, autographs, stuff like that, which I don't mind. That's nice. That's good for myself.
I have the same thing when I try and go to the loo at half time. Yeah.
I mean, well, you're a very striking man, and also you should know that when at Upton Park, Jeremy never wears trousers or pants, so it does attract attention. That's just one of the consequences. So, at one point, sort of, I had to prove my allegiance and my credentials as a fan. As a fan, like some people, they sang, I got a few chants directed at me, which I absorbed with good grace while signing autographs, taking photographs, etc., etc. Then eventually, Russell gives a song. Russell gives a song, and I was able, of course, to do a lovely verse of "We All Follow the West Ham over land and sea." Right, I did that, and thankfully, it was a word perfect rendition, got me out of that tricky situation. But the whole journey, right? Then after that, Bobby Zamora scored, and it was like the affection that was administered to me at that point. But it was an affection I could frankly do without, sort of like an overly aggressive cuddle that you might give to a dog.
Is that the 14-year-old girl you sit next to?
No, Rebecca, young Rebecca. She was not involved in that. This was in the stadium on the way to the Lavy. Right. So big beery celebrations took place. I was jostled.
So you'd gone to the word during the game while we'd scored?
Half-time, and because it took so long to sign all the autographs and photos. Jeremy, I don't know why you're conducting this like an investigation. I've not done anything wrong.
No, it's just
I'm essentially an innocent man.
What I don't want
innocent fan
is that my toilets then get a queue of celebrities using them. And
why are you considering your toilets? Are you doing drug deals in there?
No,
what's going on?
That's the official toilets. That's just where the big knobs hang out.
Oh, fuck you, Jeremy. You were Matt Morgan there.
I liked it.
That's the first chuckle he's issued all day. We've got some emails for you here, Jeremy. Jeremy is a legend, say Dave, Nicola, Paul and Sarah. The four of us are sitting around a laptop next to a fjord in Bergen, Norway, listening to this, waiting to hear his booming announcer voice. Right, this is interesting, that they're in Norway, and like if you sort of think of Norway, what is the one thing you think of? Oh, fjords, I suppose, and their flag, and that's it, right? And they're next to a fjord. I don't believe them.
No, he is. I'll tell you why. Is because Dave plays a character called Cliff, who's a piano player in my pub quiz podcast.
Oh, you know him?
Yeah, Dave Cheeseman.
It is Dave Cheeseman.
Yeah, he's a musician with a band called Pillow Talk.
You're a very good investigator.
Yeah, and he plays like a Cockney piano player.
Although this email has been undermined, as it's essentially coming. You know, what's this one? This one says, "I love Jeremy," but that is from Mrs. Nicholas, your mother.
Oh, is it?
No, it's not actually, mate. Right. I just thought, you know, that perhaps if all these emails are directly traceable back to members of your immediate circle.
There's another Mrs. Nicholas now, because I got married 4 weeks ago at West Ham.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Was that a lovely event?
It was lovely, yeah.
You got married on the pitch, did you?
No, everyone always says on the pitch. They won't let you get married on the pitch. Not with the high heels and everything.
Well, then, other than that, it's just a building.
No, it's in the Carlsberg suite. Reception in the Bobby Moore suite.
Other beers are available, other sweets are available.
Photos in the dugout. And then we did a lucky lap of honour around the pitch, which was great.
A lucky lap of honour?
Lucky lap of honour, yeah, and I specified it had to be clockwise.
Why?
Because if it had been anti-clockwise, we might have slumped in form.
It would have been an anti-lucky.
This was 4 weeks ago, remember?
A lap of dishonour.
It's worked really well.
Marriage is going well still, Jeremy, is it?
Marriage is going fantastic.
Good, well, I'm very happy. Now, here's another email, probably from one of your close friends, Liam Tyrrell. Do you know Liam?
No.
Good. I wasn't at the Wigan game, but I was told that Jeremy introduced our new Icelandic owner as Maggot Egmundsson instead of Eggert Magnusson. Is that true?
No, that's absolute rubbish.
Would you ever do you ever abuse your power as the announcer at a football stadium?
I certainly would never do a spoonerism.
Spoonerisms you would ignore.
Yeah, no, I have been told off a few times.
Have you?
When we played Coventry and one of their players scored an own goal and I announced it really enthusiastically.
Did you?
Yeah. Third goal for West Ham scored by Richard Shaw.
Wow, that is that voice. That's the voice I'm used to. You do a slightly different voice, don't you? When you're in
slightly different voice.
Well, when you went into that, was your announcer voice?
Yeah, if I say goal for West Ham scored by Richard Shaw.
Yeah, rubbish. Do the announcer voice.
You wouldn't hear me above it. Goal for West Ham, scored by Richard Shaw.
Lovely. Oh, we're there.
But apparently, if it's an own goal, you meant to go, oh, sadly, one of the Coventry players has put it through his own net. Oh, well, better luck next time.
Well, you're meant to intone the negative connotations.
You're meant to kind of go, oh, we're almost embarrassed to take the points, but tough luck, Richard. It was a cracking diving header into his own net, though.
Yeah, okay, well, you were right to comment on it.
Yeah, it's a few seasons ago. You probably weren't supporting us then.
Jeremy, are you a West Ham fan yourself?
Yes, I have been since I was 6.
Okay. Well,
no, but we've got, because there's lots of celebrity fans, aren't there?
Are there?
Yeah, Chesney Hawkes.
Is Chesney Hawkes a celebrity fan?
Yeah, David Essex, the late King Olaf of Norway, of course.
I didn't know about King Olaf of Norway.
He was evacuated during the war and got a season ticket.
They evacuated a king?
Yeah, from Norway, yeah.
Well, I suppose so. If it was causing him bother, I'd get him out.
To the east end of London, because it would be safer.
The worst place.
It'd be safer by the shipyards.
Ridiculous place.
Doesn't make any sense, but he apparently became. I think we had a minute's silence when he died, but sadly, King Harold, his son, doesn't keep up the season ticket.
He's ignoring that tradition, is he, King Harold?
Bit of a shame.
Noel Edmonds, of course.
Noel Edmonds, Keira Knightley.
Keira Knightley.
Ray Winston, that little Hobbit chap.
Really? I had no idea. Elijah Wood in
Elijah
Green
Wood
Street.
In Green Street, yeah.
Oh, really? So he came round to that, he took that... What did you think of the film Green
when they
Street?
filmed Green Street, they bought 2 rows of seats to do some filming in.
Yeah.
But I wasn't to tell the crowd that Elijah Wood was in the stadium, because obviously during the filming they didn't want people going, oi, Hobbit.
Hobbit! Throughout that would have been distracting.
So we didn't tell them they were there, but... So during the first half, me and my assistant were trying to find him in the ground, and we couldn't find him anywhere. We did a thing called Find Frodo, a bit like Where's Willy?
That would have been fun.
And we noticed suddenly, when there was nothing happening, a whole 2 rows suddenly went...
that would be Frodo.
Because the director had said, do a bit of cheering.
Do some cheering
And
now.
then people started pointing.
Now, the film Green Street follows a fictionalised hooligan fraternity.
I can't imagine who they would be.
Who would that be?
No.
But what did you make of that film, Green Street?
I didn't think it necessarily represented my team in a very favourable light.
Or football in general.
No, I was a bit embarrassed by it, really.
It's extraordinary business, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, the accent
You're pointing at me as though I might have endorsed it.
I'm not blaming you for that. I'm not suggesting for a moment you had anything to do with
and no hobbits were harmed in that filming.
Alas. So, okay, Jeremy, why don't we'll have a little listen to some music, then we'll come back to this. There's some more offers of love here. We loved you on GLR, please. GLR, that's another radio, that's a rival radio station.
It's still part of the BBC family, though.
Is it?
Yeah.
Fine. Jolly, well, I wish them all the best, but you're sadly missed.
Thank you very much.
Where are you working now?
BBC East Midlands Today.
Are you?
I'm a TV news reporter now.
Are you? Okay, what are you reporting on at the moment?
Well, last week I interviewed Gary Wilmot, who's in Peter Pan in Derby. He's playing Captain Hook.
I saw him perform at the Thameside Theatre in Grays when I was a lad. He threw a packet of crisps at me in the audience. I caught those crisps, ate some crisps, said they're stale, threw them back, and that was one of the first funny things.
Little man.
Well, I thought it was good.
Henry Winkler's in pantomime in London.
That's unusual, isn't it? Henry Winkler, the Fonz in Panto, playing Captain Hook. Why, Jeremy?
I don't know, it's madness, isn't it?
What's happening in the world?
I don't know.
For pity's sake, do something, man. Right, OK, so what are we going to listen to now then, Matthew?
Creedence Clearwater Revival. As Russell calls them.
Clearance Blue Water Revival. We're here with Jeremy Nicholas, your announcer at West Ham and East Midlands BBC news reporter.
That's right, yeah.
What, that being outside with a microphone, doing that kind of stuff?
It's a lot of standing outside with a microphone. I'm doing a profile on Starlight Express in Leicester on Monday.
Oh, yeah.
So that's quite nice.
What's going on? Starlight Express. I went and saw that once. People whizzing around in roller skates. Looks dangerous to me, Jeremy.
It's that sort of thing, yeah. And
that's what defines Starlight Express, broadly.
I basically spent an hour in one of the women's dressing rooms and watched her transform herself into a train.
Oh, yeah.
She plays Ashley the smoking carriage.
Oh, right, yeah, that one depressed me. She coughs, does she?
Yeah.
She's sort of brown. She's got a sort of brown nicotine stain.
She's got like a little chimney on her head.
Yeah.
That one.
Yeah.
But she was very nice.
Extraordinary vehicle.
Yeah.
So, OK, Jeremy, the chief reason that you've come here, and thank God you have.
Thank goodness.
Was to discuss my campaign to get more fruity songs sung on terraces.
Yeah.
Now, what did you think about it as a campaign in general?
Well, I thought I ought to come along and help you, because I know Matt's very keen on the whole campaign, really behind it. And so I thought I'd better come and help you out a bit.
Yeah, because they're both of my cohorts.
They're not footy fans, really, are they?
I'm a footy fan.
Trevor is, actually. Matt's indifferent.
Is he?
I'm bored to death by it all.
Yeah. Who's your team, Trevor?
Liverpool.
Oh, right, yeah. Like I say, not really a footy fan.
What do you say? Well done, Jeremy.
Well, obviously, I've never been to see a football team play because I'm too frightened of other men. But, I like watching it on television where it's meant to be watched.
It feels quite safe.
The men are little.
Yeah. Tiny in there, they are. They could do no trouble at all, could they? Now, so what do you think about it as an idea?
As an idea of to get the West Ham fans to sing Upton Park to the tune of Uptown Girl. I wonder why you picked that particular song, because it's not really a football-y, terrace-y type song.
I thought the whoa bit would be good.
Yeah.
I thought that might be nice. And also, I thought, I think it was random. And then I think I got, obviously, the Upton and Uptown was driving the decision. And then before I knew it, I'd written an article about it in The Guardian. I'd mentioned it on Radio 2, and it was all too late. I'd associated myself with it.
If you could start again, would you still want to go ahead with it? Or because I could feel you backtracking a bit.
Yeah, I was trying to reverse, really. I don't know if you heard, Jeremy, but I've bought a hat solely so that I can distance myself from the entire campaign. Right. So I can just go to Upton Park.
Can you just put that hat on and see if I still recognise you?
You will not recognise me when I'm wearing that hat.
Because you're still going to be a tall bloke with a beard, just without the mad hair.
Yeah, the mad hair
guess
is
how much
defining.
his hat was.
Why do you want to have a hat price
It's
getting
ridiculous.
competition?
How much was it?
50 quid for a hat.
50 quid for a little woolly hat.
How much did you get for that?
Woolly hat.
Oh,
You
that's
get this-
ridiculous. That's just like an
Get one
ordinary...
of them for a fiver.
I wasn't there when it got bought. I was very busy trying to construct careers for all of us. Now,
See, the thing is, I don't think that you can manufacture a terrace chant. I think it has to evolve naturally.
and organically.
Paolo Di Canio.
Yeah,
when he played for Celtic, he had one song. When he played for Sheffield Wednesday, he had another one. When he played for us, we had the Paolo Di Canio, Paolo Di Canio, Paolo Di Canio, Paolo, to the tune of Rigoletto by Verdi, and it was easy. Everyone remembered the words.
Yeah.
When he played at Sheffield Wednesday, it was Di Canio to the tune of Disco by Ottawan.
That's quite good. So, like, certain names evoke enjoyable chants, because both of those are quite good examples.
Good,
I of course remember Paolo Di Canio, but I don't remember the DISCO version.
Yeah, and when he was at Celtic, I think he had "When the ball's in the net, if it's not George Cadet, it's Di Canio."
It's another brilliant chant. So everywhere he's gone, he's inspired great chants.
Yeah.
So my reasoning was that if these chants can occur naturally, then it's still within the mind of an individual. It's still like, because we spoke to that Frankie Boyle. And no, what was he? Yeah, was it Frankie Boyle? Peter Boyle up at Man United, and he writes a lot of their chants, and he writes does flyer handouts.
He did that brilliant "Gigs Will Tear Us Apart," didn't he?
Gigs to
Joy
yeah.
Division, yeah, which is really good.
brilliant, isn't it? So I thought that, you know, so if it's the etymology of a song, you know, ultimately is in someone's little brain box.
But I just wonder if you've picked a song that people are, you know, Billy Joel. I don't see a lot of people at West Ham with the Billy Joel T-shirts on. Where Joy Division definitely would be a football-y type band.
Right? Yeah, there's that affiliation.
Yeah, that's the thing. I tell you, my favourite ever chant was when Eric Cantona left Leeds to go to Manchester United, and then the team that played him next, I think it was Chelsea. You know that the Leeds fans always used to sing "Ooh, ah, Cantona."
Yes.
And the Chelsea fans, with a little bit of knowledge of French, sang "Ooh, Cantona."
Oh, so very good.
Where is Cantona? That's good, isn't it?
That's good. So that little, because I wouldn't have had the confidence to go along with that.
No, you'd assume French, you know, the people go, oh no, we don't want French.
Everyone's yelling that, it must be very hard for the players to go, oh, I see what they've done there. It sound the same.
That's really... No, I think that sort of syllabic, that the change of that one syllable would have been sufficient.
Yeah. You'd be surprised how many footballers have got French O-levels.
Really?
You'd be surprised.
Surprisingly common beyond Brooking.
Do you remember a guy called Gary Stevens played for Spurs, and then there was another guy called Gary Stevens played for Everton.
Everton, yes.
Yeah, and they both played for England about the same time, and so the England fans used to sing, 2 Gary Stevens, there's only 2 Gary Stevens.
In a brilliant subversion of the only one motif that we're all familiar with.
Yeah, so that... Whoever came up with that, I think, is on a winner. Yeah, Upton Park, I'm not sure, but why don't we have a go? Why don't we have you on the pitch at half-time?
I'd rather die.
No,
is that an option? Could I die?
Really
Could I kill myself?
Very generous idea.
Could I chew through my own arteries instead?
Probably not tomorrow, because we're unveiling the new manager and we're playing Manchester
United. Right, Alan Kirbishley's his new manager. But also, guys, I'd like to do a little version of a number I call Upton Park. A 1, a 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do it with our bums out. I just think, you know, I think that it might be a bit of a challenge.
But you could wear your hat, you'd be completely disguised.
No
one would know who it was.
There's a man in a hat over there in the centre of the pitch destroying his career.
Yeah, so what about, you know, we put you in for like a lower key fixture, perhaps Portsmouth on Boxing Day or something.
Brilliant. Yeah, I would like to be there in front of Harry Redknapp and Portsmouth's away support singing a Billy Joel song.
Perfect.
on my dad's birthday.
You could wear a Santa
at West
hat
Ham.
or something, couldn't you?
It sounds like a lot of festive fun. I think I need to very seriously consider what I'm getting myself into, as a matter of fact, Jeremy.
Right. Why don't we put it to some kind of a vote on one of the West Ham message boards?
Well...
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, there's a couple of excellent ones. Knees Up Mother Brown or West Ham Online. Put it on there.
Well,
and see what they say.
Well, I think that could only hasten my departure.
They'll love
from
it.
That
They'll be
idea.
begging you to do it.
I think that let's see what kind of support we get from this radio station and The Guardian, rather more genteel appraisal of the situation.
You could wear a Radio 2 T-shirt on the pitch if you want, you know, give you a bit of a publicity.
Perhaps I could wear a target on my back as well for people to shoot me in. So, OK, this show's nearly over now. Jeremy, thank you very much for coming here. You've been lovely and insightful.
Yeah, it's lovely.
It's good to have a bit of a chat with you. Now, G's here. G now summarises our radio show in the form of a poem. He is the poet laureate of this show. Here he is, Mr. G.
OK, this poem is called The Great Divide. They say that the female of the species is more deadly than the male, and men remain little boys forever who don't always call, text or email. Do we always leave the toilet seat up, impress ladies by getting beaten up? Or do we just fall asleep after speaking after we've had a good, fulfilling meal? In the Killing Fields, Trevor believes that women secretly want men to fight, which is why he had to go all the way to Peru to pull a bird for the night. And Ben chases bees and Charlie welds molten steel, and Matt claims his fighting stance was affected by him wearing high heels. So what exactly does it take to be defined as a man? Winning Shagger of the Year or singing Uptown Girl in the stands? Or does having a whiff of insolence provide you with a masculine magnificence? Or are we all just a product of some Y chromosome coincidence?
Well done. That's a lovely bit of poetry from Mr. G there. Nice. You've got it all in, all the references to the show there. Lovely. Thank you very much. That was good. G actually wrote a better version of Uptown Girl stroke Upton Park. It was just full of violence and swearing, and I think it would have been a more
I can't believe anyone would write a better one than the version you wrote.
Well, it's difficult to imagine, Jeremy.
It is, yeah.
But
did it scan and everything?
It's scanned, it's beautiful, there's alliteration, it's all there. It's got all of the lepers' bells of poetry that one might demand. OK, so that's the end of this fantastic show. Thanks, Mr. G. You've been a fantastic poet, as always. Trevor and Matt, you're a wonderful couple of fellas. Jeremy, you've been a great guest. Whispering Bob Harris next. It's exciting, isn't it? Well, let's have a little listen to him. You've been listening to Russell Brand. This is 88 to 91 FM, Radio 2 from the BBC.
BBC Radio 2.